A very good evening to our viewers. Thank you for joining us tonight on the agenda. My name is Toivo Njabela, your host. Tonight on the platform we are joined by Rirua Komeheke. He's a social commentator. He shares his views quite frankly on a number of issues, and we brought him to the platform tonight to engage him on a number of those. Thank you, sir, for making time.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah. So let me get maybe to get the ball rolling. One thing straight. You you comment a lot about Vambus.
Yes.
As if you have some contempt against the Vambus or some sort. What are your issues with Vambu people?
Yes, I think you caught me offside on that one. I thought I didn't expect this, but yes, I prepared anytime.
Yeah.
Look, when the war of resistance started,
Yeah.
nobody thought of a war of liberation, because that was 1903 when Overhero gathered in December in Okahanja until 12 January 1904 when they said, "Genoeg is genoeg, enough cannot be enough." So they gave their life for a war of resistance.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, nobody predicted a war of liberation, right? So my question is, why I bring the Vambu issue in, is if the Vambus are talking about, are bragging about the war of liberation and therefore a ticket for them to do as they please because they participated in a war of liberation, right? Yeah. Where, by the way, these were about 40,000 people in exile, and maybe 93%, 85% were Vambus. Yeah. At which point are they going to stop and say, wait a minute, but there was a war of resistance that was waged by people who were in this country when it was German Südwest until it became Namibia. Yeah. Where do we leave these people? That's the faction. No, the friction within me. It is there. So when I say it out, it's because it is boiling there already. Yeah. I want to use this verb deliberately. Where did you wear when Overherero and Overkwena Namas took on the Germans? Yeah. Until there was two clear orders, extermination orders to say, finish these Hereros and Namas. They are giving us trouble. Where were you? Yeah. And why doesn't that matter today? That these people are so few, we call them minority, and they're not going to do anything to us while we are here. We are going to do as we please because we go to the polls 2029 November. Yeah. You follow? So all that, and true to God, I don't hate anyone. Yeah. Not even the Germans that did this to us. I don't hate them. All I'm saying is that as an agitator, let's address that issue. Let's talk about that. Let's talk to each other, not past each other. Because we have things that are paining us that are not addressed, So my sanguine hope is the ground is clear now. The air is clear now on the issue of, where were you? Yeah. Until you answer that question to us, we are going to say, but you Vambus. Answer that question, where were you? And they say, no, we came up to Namutoni and the Germans did this and that to us, therefore we are part and parcel of genocide. Genocide is defined by the United Nations. It's not a war. It's not a skirmish. It's not people shooting at each other. It's an extermination of a particular group by another for religious or any other, purpose. Yeah. A reason. So it's defined. We can't be, casual about genocide. So my sanguine hope is that, Toivo, we are clear now.
Yeah. Yes. In what way do you think that there is blatant disregard for the resistance of the Hereros and Namas in the body politic in the national discourse, essentially?
Since 1990, it has not featured. Not for a minute. It has not featured.
In what manner should it feature?
In the same way as the war of liberation. Because these are two wars. Yeah. It was supposed to feature at the same time. But when we are being told about the war of liberation, when somebody is mentioning that phase, they include Mandume Yademfayo in that. What did Mandume do in this country? Nothing. Mandume was in Angola. He did nothing in this country. But there's a long street that is Mandumaized to say Mandume was, participated in anything in this country. Colleagues, no, let us not do that to each other. Yeah. So I'm saying the importance of a role of Akwena and of Herero in 1904, in fact, since 1870, to 1915, is not featuring anywhere.
But
to me, I'm saying that should be like, if I finished KFC, I'll go to Hungry Lion, That is not there. I can't see the link between the war of resistance and the war of liberation. I can't see the what's name, because one brought the other. The war of liberation would not have been if there was no war of resistance. And the people who emanated, who remained after the war of resistance, they are the birthers of the liberation struggle. The Hosea and the Biekers and and the Kopers and so on.
No, Medu, I understand.
Yes.
But is it not perhaps because the war for the liberation struggle was more nationalistic, as opposed to wars confined to jurisdictions? This particular one was from Aranyamund to Okaoko for all of us. While the earlier ones, and it's because the conditions were different. I can understand that. The tribal fights were really to say, look, we are the Hereros, and this is our land, and we are going to fight for it. And Swapo and others came in the 60s and said, no, now we are going to fight for the whole country. So the weight ought to be a bit different. Of course, the impact of the resistance war was bad. Genocide was, but there's no chapter in our Republican life or history that equates to genocide. So in that sense, yes. But in terms of interest, no, there's no comparison.
Wait a minute. I'm laughing because now you are making my life easier.
Yeah.
Because you gave us more way as arsenals to demand for land, because you just mentioned that our land.
No, they are with you. On land, I'm with you.
I've listened to you.
It's no question.
Give me a minute. We can say we can claim land because now the land was taken after the war of resistance. I mean the genocide. After the genocide, the land was taken.
Yes.
Now I'm unraveling this, and the war of resistance is a different thing from genocide. So for as long as we are mixing these two, the discussion will become...
genocide was...
wait, I'm trying to help you.
No, genocide was probably the last chapter of that war of resistance. People started fighting. The extermination orders were issued as a result of that resistance.
Yes. Now that's what I'm saying. You're saying, you're speaking just like the joint declaration. The joint declaration is saying, if it was a war or extermination order in 1947 or 1964, it would have been genocide. But now it cannot be genocide because in 1904, you people were not people enough. That's what the joint declaration is saying, section 20, unless they have fixed it now. But be that as it may, what we are saying is that war of resistance that led to genocide is because it happened to people, is as good as what the people did in their majority in exile. As I said, that 85% of the people who waged the war of the war for liberation were your people. It does not take away.
What is this thing about your people? We are one. We are one.
No, we are struggling to become one. That will be a discussion for another day. I'll tell you why we are struggling to become one.
Yeah.
So the people in 1870 to 1904 who waged that war, to the people who claim to have started a war in 1966, because remember, the people in Olokasi were killed because they put up resistance and they were saying, no, nothing in our name without us. So that's why I'm saying they claim that the war started in 1966. That war, which took 23 years, had people in it. So it is, we can't put this thing on scale and say one weighs more than the other.
No, I agree.
So Jebela,
they agree.
Jebela,
I don't think that's not even my argument.
The nations that made this nation, each has its luggage, and we cannot say what is in your luggage. No, those are only toiletries. It's okay. No, everything that is in every luggage of the nations in this country matter. That's why we are saying when we are building a nation, we have to look into those packages. What are what are those skeletons in a Subian nation, in Kwekowab, and I mean the Namas and so on and so on. We didn't do that because all the time we've been talking about each other. That's why we don't know each other hitherto. Yes. That's why you are saying you are trying to compare this. No,
I'm not comparing at all.
Two events and say since 1966 that was a nationalistic approach to issues. It wasn't.
No.
It was not different from what was happening because the war of resistance, we resisted this country being taken to become a colony.
No. It was just, I think, I want to be very, very clear. I'm not at all downplaying. I was saying, because you said, you were talking about, you made that comparison, and I was just making a prognosis to say, look, maybe it's because some people think that this one was more nationalist and the other one was more about the jurisdictions of tribes at the time. And again, the context was okay at the time. It was still a good fight. I'm not going to say that because Maharero was not fighting in Okalongo where I was born, then suddenly that his fight was not worth it. No, the signs of the times were exactly that you fight for that. And the land that was being taken, in any case, because you think I'm giving you now weapons, the land that was taken also is actually, that was being taken at the time was that one. So there was no reason for that war to have happened anywhere else where the land was not being taken. So I am with you on that one. But let's move to the topic of you are a vocal voice on this issue of the joint declaration. You brought it up. What is your take on that issue? Where do we stand now? Because there seems to be a lot of exclusions, a lot of complaints. The Germans we haven't heard from the Germans since we sent back the thing for reconsideration. Your take on that? Yeah,
you see, Trevor, my take on the JD is from the inception, it went haywire. That's why I'm not a consistent commentator on the joint declaration, because to me it died on arrival. Because the order of Parliament was very clear. Let's go out there and have the affected people be involved. And some people say we wanted to send Paramount Chief Rukoro to go sit there and speak to the Germans. No, we would have sent Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, for example, or we would have sent Dr. Kamupigene, for example, people who would know what they are going to say there and who are vocal on this issue.
Zed Gavirwe was not, and others.
And before I get to Zed Gavirwe,
who are part
before I get to Zed Gavirwe,
Kapama.
Before I get to Zed Gavirwe, that's what some public commentators are saying. Yeah, but those people wanted, to go speak, or themselves. No, we know who would do a good job at what, because we are within one nation, the Herero nation and the Nama nation, because the order was very clear. The affected communities, for which the orders were made out, the order of Parliament. And then somebody's injected something into be called, no, but you are not a nation, a state, what is it, a state actor. You are not a nation, you are not a state. Therefore, you cannot speak to Germans, while it is historically recorded that the Jews spoke on their own behalf. 23 groups engaged the Germans. That there. Now, let's go to Ngavirwe issue, to Dr. Ngavirwe issue. You see, when the order was very clear that we must speak for ourselves, we had to have our own people who will speak for ourselves. And anything that I will be saying now about Ngavirwe and his persona would not matter, because he would not defend himself. But we knew who Ngavirwe was, and we knew why the president opted for, did I say the president? Yeah. Why the president opted for Ngavirwe. And why we are here with the joint declaration. I mean, with what they were calling reparation, negotiations. We are here. We are in the middle of nowhere now. It is because the people, the horses that were filtered to go do the job, were not the right ones. These people appeared like beggars. No, true to God, if it was in my hand, there is no way I would go to Germany and speak to them about reparations and what have you. Germans must come here. They have an ambassador here. They must send their people to come and talk to us here. But to some of the people who pushed for the reparation, the discussions on the genocide, to be the way it was, these people were getting salaries. That's why it was supposed to, number one, it had to take longer for them to get more salaries. And number two, it had to be disoriented so that it continued to be there, so that apparently they mattered. Because if you listen to them now, some people on these committees, apparently they are representing chiefs who are no more. They are still on a committee and they'll say, no, I'm representing Ombaraka Mbalombi Wakusho, who is no more. Wakusho passed on as a chief of, Kambalombi Royal House. He's no more. And there's somebody on that committee who say, I'm representing, Mbaraka Kambalombi, who's no more, but not Kambaraka Kambalombi, who's alive now. So all those intricacies, those smaller nyana things that you see and hear around this thing is why, is what we foresee, what we foresaw, that it will happen. This thing will die on arrival. Yeah. And that is because it was not started the way we anticipated it. Because the noise we made since 2006 to when that committee was established, I think it's about 2014 or 2012 or something. I can't remember exactly which year. But the noise we made before that, from 2006 to that time, it was understood that, okay, fine, let's have the committees. One is technical, one is political, one is negotiating, and etc., etc. But what was disturbing the people who felt excluded and who said we are not going to be party to that the way it is now, is that even the people who were on the committee, they could not even negotiate anything for themselves. That's why from the initial figures that we had, 1.3 trillion, they could not even get 10%. They got 1.1 billion, which is not 10%. But that is because they went to back. And I'm telling you what was at the back of the mind of the government at that time. You remember we were I want to borrow this word from Peter Tosh, we were in a situation that time. And what happened is the government of the day thought it's a walk in the park. We just engage the Germans. We get this 18 billion understanding and we tell IMF to give us 18 billion that will pay with the money that will come from Germany. That was on the back of the mind of the executive. The executive being cabinet and its chairperson. They had that in the back of mind. So they thought they would just walk in there, speak to the Germans, beg them for 1.1 billion, and that is 18 billion, and voila, they can borrow money against that from IMF.
What is the right quantum?
No, the right
because the debate is also that you cannot really put the price to human life.
We could not do that. But in the first place, before during negotiations, by the way, I'm not a proponent of negotiations. I'm a proponent of a claim. We must claim from Germans, and our claim was supposed to have been understood by people who are in the know. That's why I brought in the Mungundas, the Kamupingene, and so on and so forth, so that these people sit and lay out what it is that we should be claiming from Germans, and then the negotiation started from there. We can't start the negotiation from nowhere. That's why the outcome was 1.1 billion, because the people who went there, they are backers. These people are paid $35,000 as a salary, the staffers, and they are fine with it. $35,000 for somebody who's about to negotiate 1.1 trillion euro. It's a joke, like they would say in Logazi. It's a big joke. It's because they are not negotiating; they are begging.
So, but what is the right quantum?
The right quantum, all along from all the premises, was 1.13 trillion, which was, of course, to be paid over a period of what have you years. But I would be fine with. My idea was not necessarily the money, but necessarily the right money. Yeah. Money that is paid because it is reparation that we are talking about, not atrocities, not a reconciliation, and not projects. Yeah. You see, too many of us out there don't have this link between Overherero and Ovakwena in Namibia, Botswana, and South Africa because of 1904. We don't have that link. I'm coming from Omawaneno in Botswana now. There was a Overherero cultural festival in Setswana. Why? Because they don't speak Herero there. But the heroes, the attire, the food, the what is so heroic. But they can't speak the language. They speak Nama and they speak Setswana and Afrikaans because Kuruman is close by there and what have you. So that impact of 1904 is not felt here. That's why some of the proponent of the way this so-called negotiation and genocide reparation and what have you is, they don't feel it. They say, yeah, no, we are. When we're asking them, but what do you do with the people in Botswana? They say, yeah, no, but those people, we build roads for them and houses and clinics. But I'm saying that's not their problem. Their problem is they can't speak Oshiro like we do here, and they came from here since 1904. So why are you saying you do roads for them? Why don't you have an online course of Oshiro for the next 25 years where people go to class online and they being taught Oshiro? You are not thinking about that. You are thinking about a clinic. They don't have a problem with clinic. They don't have a problem with roads because their government is taking care of them. So that's why we are saying we are stuck with nothing about us without us, and anything about us without us is against us. So we were supposed to be sitting and doing this negotiation on our own.
Assuming that the $1 trillion demand was agreed to and effected, how would you want that money to be used? I'm asking this question because there was some time last year there was some elder Herero community members who said, oh, we are old, we are about to die, and therefore, for us, we want money in the pocket, like in the form of pension grant, old age grant, those kind of things. For us, in this outgoing generation, we want money in the pocket. What would you want? What would you want the money to be used for?
If it is the will of the people,
yeah.
Warum nicht? Why not? That's the will of the people. That's what the people want.
No, what does Rirua want?
Look, I'm caught between a rock and a hard place here.
Yeah.
I have given political responsibility to Swanudo because I voted for Swanudo. And then I also gave a responsibility, a traditional matters responsibility to the paramount chief, Professor Mushinde Kashiwa, right? But I'm cognitive of the fact that I'm in a republic in which I'm a sovereign. I do not want to detach a Republican responsibility from the government of the day to people who are not leaders of the government. And vice versa, I also don't want the government to abandon its responsibility towards the sovereigns. Right? This is what I'm saying. I'm saying if the government was supposed to have used the bilateral agreement money that came from Germany to develop roads in Epukiro or Shinele or Mongwa or Korihas, etc., I would not be standing against this government and say, but you guys, you are in the wrong. I would not be the one to do that because it was done. By now, I think we were over $1 billion from over $1 billion dollars from Germany as development aid, but we don't see it in Ongama, where you have over Herero who came back from Botswana since 1904 when their great grandparents left. We don't see something to that effect. There's no special attention paid to the people who are affected by the genocide attempt on Over Herero and Over Kwena since 1990. We don't see that. Yeah. Special attention. The fact that there's a special attention paid to Namibia because of that activity, that genocide. Because Germany is on record to say our contribution is the highest. We received the highest contribution from the leadership, from Germany, vis-a-vis other African countries. So I don't want the government to abandon its responsibility as far as doing roads, clinics, and demands for whatever is to be developed in the area of the affected people, simply because now there's an amount of money coming from Germany. That's why I'm saying I'm between a rock and a hard place as far as your question is concerned. Because on a serious note, some fellow over Herero I speak to, they want to think that it's okay, the money will do roads. And I'm asking, the road between Oshomithe Country Club and the Hosea Kutako International Airport is 950 million. This money that is that is being touted as reparation, it will be about 400 million a year. divided by 7 regions. And the road from Oshivanda to Tsumkwe to Ongama is over 300 and something kilos. And the road of 49 kilos is costing 950 million. So at which point are we going to do what? Are we going to say what? What are we saying when we submit that, the money should come, it will be divided between 7 regions, and annually every region might get to 100 million, these 7 regions. So from the onset, the elders, they might want to drag me with them so that I buy in what they're saying.
Yeah.
To say, look, I must be frank here. Ovaherero lead 2 lives. The one in Eros here and the one in Ongama. So if a household has 17 young people under 35 and they're getting 3.5 annually, monthly, times 10 is 35,000 plus the difference, then there's over $40,000 in that homestead. And I'm telling you, too many things will be done. Because I know somebody who's in Ondamurokoha. You don't know Ondamurokoha, do you?
No.
You know woman broke in Katutura. That
Yes.
area to the east of it is Ondamurokoha. So I know a young man who passed with 38 points, grade 12. Up to now, he's not going to school. Why? Because his parents do not have money. Now, if you have $40,000 in a household and you have somebody who have 38 points, voila, this person will go to school.
Absolutely.
So if these people are saying, instead of we are pretending to be doing roads that we cannot afford, or a clinic that we can't build because a clinic will cost you 35 million, and you only have got 200 million per region to deal with it from what they say is reparation, then I want to agree with the elders. Let them get money so that they take their children to school.
Let's go on a small break. We'll be back shortly with Rirua Komeheke. The conversation with Rirua Komeheke continues on the agenda. Now, Chief, there's a new administration coming into office.
Interesting.
Coming into office this month, in a matter of days. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah coming in as president, as a member of the affected community. What are you looking forward to? Do you have confidence now that finally some of the things that you've been demanding will be attended to, or do you think that it will be a continuation of the stance that government has had so far?
I think my sanguine hope is that it is true that I call her Mefro Ndaitwah until she becomes Her Excellency.
Yeah.
Mefro Ndaitwah, I heard, and I don't want to say it with confidence, that when the first time the joint declaration had to go to Parliament, when she was a Minister of Foreign Office, we heard she did not want to do it. Now, if that is true, then I want to bang on that. I want to think that maybe she didn't want the joint declaration in the language it was, and therefore, optimistically, things might be different with her administration as far as the negotiations on reparation is concerned, meaning that we might see a new beginning on this issue or a new approach on this issue. Now, if I have that in the back of my mind that maybe it's true that she said she did not want to to participate at that level. Because remember, the joint declaration went to Parliament. We went there, we made noise with the whistle, we blew the whistles, and it was removed from Parliament. So maybe it was because she didn't want it. And if it is true that she didn't want it, I'm very positive that we might have a different approach. And if it is true that, if it is not true that she didn't like it, is maybe because she was not in the country or what have you, then definitely, like all the households, they start with the mother to say, please tell Papa that we want the car. We want to go. You follow? That soft spot as a mother, she would have it.
The motherly love.
That motherly understanding when the father is saying, I must you go talk to your mother there, you know, because that means he has authorized, but, you know, let it be the mother who will be blamed for whatever happens. So maybe that motherly understanding will be there from her, because we have been screaming and screaming for too long and too loud. So my optimistic hope is that the administration ensuing, taking over now, will have a different approach on this issue of genocide.
Okay. So let me alert you to remarks made by Vice President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah in June 2024. She was addressing the Chiefs Forum in Windhoek. And on this specific issue, she said that the descendants of the Nama and Herero victims must carefully consider their demands. She said, banking our hopes on external organizations for a genocide that was committed more than 120 years ago in Africa by one of the current economic powerhouses in the world may not help us, particularly in this highly polarized international political order. And she continued, it is therefore important for us to pay attention and appreciate what has been achieved from these negotiations and indicate where improvement should be made. Essentially, my understanding of her remarks is to say, is basically echoing what President Geingob said, the late president said at the time, to say, oh, because for him he thought it was such a huge breakthrough. And we had people like Dr. Hengari, his spokesperson, saying, yes, we have achieved, it's a big thing. And this thing of not putting a price to lives was coming from that time to say, look, you know, it's a symbolic victory. Let's not be attached too much to money values. And she seems to suggest here that compelling a powerhouse like Germany to agree to this, even in the current form, is such a major victory for Namibia. But that doesn't inspire confidence that she will do things differently. Maybe she will, but that's my reading of the situation.
You see, Peter Tosh should sing and say, those who know it, feel it. Those two persons you mentioned there, late Dr. Geingob and Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, they don't know it. That's why they don't feel it. I mean, they don't know it, so they don't feel it. That is why we were saying we should speak for ourselves. These people are apologetic in their approach towards this issue, because if it happens, it's okay. If it doesn't happen, it's okay. For us, it must happen. And we are here for the next 100 years to see to it that it happens, whether Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah is in it or not. Because we can circumvent her and go to Germany on our own, which we've been doing all the time. We've been going to Germany without any blue cent coming from the state. We are telling Germans in Germany what was done and what we are screaming about. So with or without the Republic, we'll continue telling Germans about what they did until the voters in Germany start to understand that they should vote differently. Just like what happened in February, the last elections. So we are appealing to the Germans. If the European government is exuding the incapacity that we foresaw, that they cannot deal with this issue, it's too big for them, and they are worried about time. As over Herero and over Gwena, we are not worried about time. We are not worried about the size of Germany. We are worried about the size, the sharpness of the X that we are. If you are a big tree, we are an X, sharp and ready to cut you down. End of quote. I've quoted Bob Marley. So with them who think that Germany is that big, we are not worried about German size. So she can forget. And now that you have read that, my optimistic hope is that she remembers that, not a speech just written for her to recite and put it aside. I hope she remembers that. And if that is her position, hitherto, obviously, we are not going to bang on her. Yes, we are not going to bang on her. We are going to circumvent her anytime as we were doing with the previous presidents.
Absolutely. So, Suanudo, what is that? Why did you vote for that?
No, I thought we were going to, okay, fine.
No, we have exhausted this topic properly.
No, I thought we were going to go to the administration, but...
No, there's a new government in Germany now. And of course, this Merz, Mr. Friedrich Merz.
Yeah, I know him.
It's a very conservative guy, and conservatives in the world right now are the ones. It's liberals who are saying, look, we committed crimes, let's pay the people. Conservatives who lean a little bit to the right.
To Elon Musk.
Yes, those ones are saying, nah, sorry for my choice of words, but screw them. The world must move on. So, what are your hopes briefly on this man? No,
and I was listening the pre and post elections environment in Germany. I was particularly interested, and I wanted to see what the future will hold on this issue. But it goes back to what I submitted earlier before you read that, because they were saying Germany's size doesn't matter to us. I mean, look, Russia fell, man. It was USSR. It fell at one point. Ukraine has got over 40 million people. It is struggling. It is putting up defense. We are saying our size do not matter. What that conservative is saying, their time will come and pass, and we will be here demanding what is rightfully ours. So what they are saying there, I'm telling you now already, today is what, today is 7. Yeah. Oh, SWAPO Congress is taking place today. Yeah. So today is 7. I'm telling you, 7 March today. We'll be talking 7 March next year. And Germany will be closer to us, will be closer to talking to us. Because the pressure is coming from all the groups in Germany, because we are inciting them to put pressure, whether it's a conservative or a liberal government at play. Because we are putting all the fires on all the wood on the fire.
But where does that confidence come from? Because you see, my difficulty is that we are a small nation. We are a small community. If you talk about now the affected communities, the world. If you look at what Trump is doing now in the USA, using tariffs to force certain nations to do certain things that favor their country. So there has to be a tool, a stick that you use to get what you want from whoever owes you something. In this case, what is the stick? We are not military strong. We can't threaten Germany with guns. We can't threaten them economically that, we are not going to send our whatever to your country anymore. We are going to charge your things this much. We are a very, very tiny market for Germany. I mean, is it on goodwill only?
And when you are saying we, I'm trying to
Namibians.
Yes, I'm trying to replace that we with the Herero Nama everywhere where you said we. No, wait a minute.
I don't want to reduce it to
No, wait a minute. Because the discussion is already reduced to that level. That's why the state is not a competent participant in this. They just put in anybody. Let them just go talk.
It's even worse now.
Give me a moment.
If you reduce it now to the communities,
give me a moment. What I was going to say,
the power is even lower.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But I was going to say that when it is over Herero nation over Herero Nama nations taking on Germany, it will be the effect of what an end can do to an elephant. You see, so as I said earlier, we are talking to human beings.
Yeah.
We are talking to human beings who gradually will grasp and understand what we are saying. And that is what we are saying. Everybody else in this republic, except Overhero and Namas, they are worried about time on the issue of genocide. We are not worried about time. This happened in 1904. How many years ago now? We are still talking about it. So we are not worried about time. Time has got no effect on us. Even if my children cannot do it, my grandchildren will do it. That's what we are saying. We are not worried about time. We are not worried about the type of government that is there. We are not worried about the power vested in Germany because of its economic. I think it's the third economic power or the first economic power in Europe.
In Europe is the best.
Yes. So we are not worried about that.
Germany had no. So it's a question of appealing to their conscience,
yes,
rather than anything else.
Of the voters. These are the people who are the sovereigns. Who are the sovereigns? These are the people who are the most important people to us, and we are talking to them. We will continue talking to them until they fathom and become the leaders themselves. Some of them become the leaders and change the status quo. It will happen because when we had Germany, after the elections in Germany, what we had was Germany might take a while before they pay attention to the JD. We punched the air because we said that's what we wanted. It was about us without us. Okay. And when we say us, we mean the majority of Overhero and Overkwena. Because the government was looking for people who are easy to work with, and they delivered 2,500 hectares of land as settlement farms. Those people have them. And we are told, no, they applied like everyone else. You think we are not from here. We wake up with you, Comrade Schlechtwein. So you can't tell us that the people applied like everyone else. No. Okay. And we are saying gradually we will get there for our generations.
Wonderful.
I mean to come.
Yeah. Now, Nudo politics. You are a very active member of the party, and there are two groups that claim legitimacy. Are you with Berry Rukoro?
Yes. I was a proponent of Berry Rukoro. No Berry, no Congress. And people thought I was ching-chonging. I was playing. I was very serious.
What is the legitimacy of Berry in this situation? Because he came out of absolutely nowhere and said, he's the leader of the party now. Because if our politics becomes that, a guy in Swapo just says, no, I'm president at the Swapo Congress this weekend, extraordinary Congress this weekend. I'm now the legitimate president of Swapo. It's crazy.
You see, I want to clear that thing of Berry came from nowhere. Yeah. Berry had been there. Berry was never a member of any other political party. That cannot be proven. Everyone else who said that failed in the NUTO leadership. They failed dismally to prove beyond the reason of a doubt that Berry is not a member of NUTO. He was a member of NUTO. And he was not a member, a passive member. He was an active member. Because remember, at one point, Kawandenge had to be, there was an investigating committee and there was a disciplinary committee, and Barry was a member of the disciplinary committee. If he was not a member of NUTO, he wouldn't be there. So with that in mind, let's address all the other issues around NUTO. So the people who said Berry is not a member because apparently he became a branch member at the wrong branch, or at the branch that did not know him, is the same people who were recorded on audio saying we must make sure that Berry is not coming. So I want to tell you right now that the politics in NUTO at that moment was so neck-breaking, such that it could be regarded as not normal way of politicking. So everything else went. That is why a team that led NUTO up to March 2024 had the audacity to say, we are calling off this Congress because we fear life-threatening, bloodshed. That's what was said in I think July 2024 at Dramatics. That was the we are calling off the Congress because it looks like these people will devour each other in there. It was not true. I was there. I was freely screaming, no Berry, no Congress, no Berry, no Congress. Nobody said anything towards me.
People are scared of you.
And Berry was seated there with the delegates of Kandrodu. They were, chit-chatting. Berry himself was there. The only person who was not there is the person who said, the power vested in me, I will call this Congress off because we fear bloodshed.
That's Esther Munyagwena.
Who resigned from NUDO anyway, which is good that she resigned. Now our life is made easier. So then the Congress was called off. What happened? The Congress was supposed to take place. Then the members of NUDO found a way how to have a Congress without the Secretary General, the President, the Vice President, and the Chairperson. Yeah. We had a Congress 6 and 7 September at Komastal. And this Congress gave us Barry Lukoro as the president. Not friends of Barry Lukoro.
So if that is the case, why is Kandrodu going to Parliament and not Berry or anyone else from the Berry group? Because
when we spoke to ECN, wanting to give our list of members of the National Council who came from electoral college, we were told, no, you guys, you have to deal with Kawandege before what have you. So we decided, wait. Let us not waste time. We are going to decide a way out. Our way out was we are going to mobilize all NUTO members who would listen to us, who would dare listen to us, to vote Swanu. And then we got our names on the list, Barry names on the list of Swanu. So we joined forces with Swanu. That's why we say Swanudo all the time. Okay. During the campaign, we're calling it Swanudo, because we didn't want to take them on. We are going to take them on because there's a Monday on the 10th. When is the 10th? On the 10th, there's a mediation, a court-related mediation between Kawandenge and the leadership of Barry Lukoro. It will happen next week, the 10th. So we are not done on that front. We are still putting wood on the fire, so that at the end of the day, the question of whether Kandrodu is going to Parliament, of course, whether it will be Kandrodu the whole year or the whole 5 year or not, will be addressed after that. And as well as during the mediation, I'm sure the leadership will not ignore that phenomena. But be that as it may, before July 13, if I'm correct, on the Congress, the National Council had a meeting that referred to the issue of Kandrodu. Remember, Kandrodu was dismissed from the party. Was expelled. And they wanted, dismissed, not suspended. Suspended happened and then dismissal happened.
I'm saying expelled.
Yeah, expelled. So now the issue was whether we welcome the man back with or without his status as he was before the dismissal or not. And that issue was referred to that Congress. And the Congress we had on 5 and 6 September, they didn't come. The Esther, the Kawandenge, what have you, they didn't come. Therefore, the issue of Kandrodu was not addressed there at that Congress because they didn't come. Now, I think similar environments are the one of NABDA and the one of NUTO, and both institutions starts with N. You remember NABDA went to court, and Justices Deacher said, but you guys, you don't have locus standi because your term expired. Ushua's term expired. Ushua's leadership term expired in March. Some people who were trying to be smarter legally, they were saying, but we can't have a leadership vacuum. No, but you can't go to court. Your term expired. You're going to tell the judge, Kusha, you are who? You are here because you are who? So we have not stopped doing that. We have Barry Lukoro as the president. It was announced in Kahumandu in Aminus at the funeral where I was, that I want to recognize the presence of my president, Barry Lukoro, which was done by a certain Kahiha who I know. And this thing is going to run parallel until after the mediation. My sanguine hope is that during the mediation, we find a solution and go to court and make it binding. And optimistically, we might go to a Congress.
Okay. So,
and by the way, before you say what you want to say now, I have to be very tribal here to say, over Herero fight until they cannot fight anymore, just like they did in 1904. We couldn't do it anymore. So you will never find our hero fighting, taking up arms and what. We finished fighting. Now we are left with talking. We are talking to each other because we know each other. We remained about 26,000 after 1904. So we know each other very well. All of Herero, they are so related. And we will never, never fight each other that way. We will talk to each other until we find solutions to our issues.
And I hope it goes that way. The final question, therefore, to you, Rirua, is NUDO is a very important entity.
I want us to talk about the administration coming. I'm very interested in that.
Oh, okay. Okay. What are your expectations of the Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah administration, therefore?
I know Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah would be, as usual, they are always left with new bottles and the same old wine. So that's their number. That will be her number one problem. Looking at the list of prospective members of parliament, I mean cabinet ministers, I'm worried for her. But some people think I'm that bad. I'm not bad at all. I'm an agitator. I want us to talk about those things that people are always putting under a carpet.
Yeah.
If I was Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, for this administration to rise above 60% vis-a-vis the last elections, which they got 53%?
Yes.
Yes. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, take it from me. You have a rotten systemic government officers. Start with the executive directors, move them around. Go to the directors, move them around. Go to the deputy directors, move them around. These people are so used to each other. They have created cartels that cannot be moved by a minister. Because usually ministers, if I may borrow the word, ministers are muhus. They are not streetwise. You understand? So they are being dribbled by the people who are, endemic to that system.
Yeah.
So these people are dribbling them, and the decisions are taken in Katutura, brought to the boardroom by deputy directors or directors, and they are being implemented. I'm saying they are muhus because there's no way a minister who's not a muhu will not see through a project called TPEC, for example, or will not see through a project called Massa Housing, like President Bahamba would say, the Massa Housing project. They would have seen it if these guys were not muhu. I mean, what is Kahimite from Electricity Control Board? He would see, if he was a minister, he would see that this is a ching chong thing. There's no way you can have 14 billion apparently would be spent on TPEC, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You understand? So please, Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, your ministers are muhus. I can see the list already. Please be awake all the time so that the administration help you to get to 60% in 2029. Otherwise, these young people here called Amupanda, I call him Katena because I want him to remove Yop. Yop is a colonial name. Yeah. I call him Katena, Amupanda, and Karonda, Swardbue. These people, these people are in parliament. They are going to devour your ministers who are also sitting in cabinet. They will devour them if they are muhus, if they come to parliament with nothing. So, and remember, we might have a situation whereby SWAPO will have 49 parliamentarians because there's a speaker and a deputy speaker who will not be voting, who will not have voting powers. So definitely it will be difficult for SWAPO this time. Yeah. Therefore, these intelligent people that I have just mentioned now, who will be on the other side of the aisle, will give your administration, fire all the time. So I am looking forward to a president who will listen to us because we are the sovereigns. We are on the ground. We are seeing this thing happening every time. I was in Havana, my friend. I was so disheartened because our constitution makes provision for a dignified life because a life before 1989, apparently it was presumed to be an indignified life. So if the constitution made provision for dignity, why do we keep people in Havana, in places like Havana, of these countries? If we can, oh my gosh, if we have things like Namdia that have money to splash on executives and staffers, why do we have people in sharks? We have to relook at that. She must relook at that. Nobody in this country must be paid more than the president because they don't do anything more than the president is supposed to do. Nobody should be paid from state-owned enterprises. Nobody should be paid more than the president. And if Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah can hear me saying these things, She must work on it. All that money will channel back to the people in Havana so that we start building houses there. True to God. Anybody in this country can afford to pay $800 back to the government because they have a house that is, government funded. Anybody, even a taxi driver, they can pay $800 back to the government because the government has built houses. So if the president is not going to do that, they will go down from 53% to 43% in 2029. And to me, it will be a celebration.
I hear you. No.
I'll celebrate
Thank you, my brother.
Anytime.
We could talk again.
No, you can come to the Red Roof.
I'll come to the Red Roof
at our house. You can have meet there and we chit chat throughout so that at least you help others who do not understand this at this level. Because the people on the ground, I'm telling you, Peter Tosh was right when he said, who knows it, feel it. The people on the ground, they feel it.
Absolutely. I will invite you to Oshikandu then. That is my place.
Oh yes, anytime.
That is Rirua Komeheke is a social commentator giving us his take on a variety of issues that we discussed tonight. Thank you for watching.